Well, I'll start off by saying this. Do not blame that game on the defense, okay? I don't care who you play, whether it's a high school team, a junior college team, a college team, much less an NFL team. When you turn the ball over 5 times, 4 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown, 3 others in field position to set up touchdown, you ain't gonna beat anybody I just talked about. Anybody. All right? And that was a disgraceful performance, in my opinion. We threw that game. We gave it away by doing that. We gave them the friggin' game. In my opinion, that sucked. What's that? Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win again.
Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here, and of course with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. It is game day. We have this week and next week 2 games left as we sit here at 7-9. This is not the season that we wanted. Not by far. By far, this is not the season that we wanted. But we can finish off strong and play a little bit of a spoiler with the Eagles. The Eagles need to get this win. If they get this win today, they clinch the division. They can rest everybody next week. And having lost Jalen Hurts, of course, they have some problems because they don't know how long Jalen Hurts is going to be in concussion protocol. If they lose today, losing to the Commanders last week, and then to us, along with having a very bad showing against the Carolina Panthers, you have to think that psychologically that this team starts thinking about, oh my God, what's going on? Are we having shades of last year? And for the Cowboys to at least spoil, at least for 1 week, the Eagles who had a chance to be the number 1 seed, but losing to the Commanders all but killed that. They have a 5% chance right now of that happening, which are slim and none. And if they do lose to the Cowboys, then that means they must beat the Giants, which are literally like, we do not want to win. We do not want to win. So that could literally be the ugliest last week of the season game in football. Be that as it may, the Commanders, of course, are rooting for the Cowboys because they need us to win to keep their hopes of winning the NFC East. Backup quarterbacks. It's going to be interesting to see how this thing goes. Without C.D. Lamb, without having that weapon that has just been everything, you have to think it's got to be the defense. Now, Micah Parsons, I say Micah Parsons and C.D. Lamb grew up this season. Micah Parsons, from the time he stepped into the NFL, everything was easy. Everything was a bed of roses. Every year he was an MVP candidate. We're talking about, people saying he's a generational talent. And the way this season started out with him being 1 sack in 4 games, people started questioning him. People started saying, get rid of him. He's a bum. He's a 3-year wonder. He's a diva. The Dallas Cowboys, we heard in the offseason, were getting a little bit sick of his stick. But that has kind of changed. That has kind of changed since he got back from injury. For me, I think him being injured and not being able to be out there to help his team, and having his podcast where he literally looked like an idiot, yucking it up with Big Play Slay after the Cowboys get mollywopped. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Are you more worried about your broadcasting career than what the team does? But since he has come back, the turnaround for the Dallas Cowboys defense is insane. And I'm going to have to say, there is no way in hell that you want to let go of Mike Zimmer. There's no way you want to let go of Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer was dealt a shit sandwich. Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Let's be clear here. Mike Zimmer, off the bat, a young and becoming defensive end, and Sam Williams goes out for the season. You don't bring back a guy like Stephon Gilmore. Your number one D-back is coming back off of ACL. Deron Bland doesn't start playing till week 12. You miss Micah Parsons for 4 games. You lose Overshown. You had gotten rid of your best interior, defensive lineman in Hankins. You had lost all these free agents, and you're coming in to a team that doesn't go out and get anybody other than one linebacker and journeyman defensive ends. You then lose a Marshawn Nealon for extended time. You lose another one of your cornerbacks in Jordan Lewis. And now you've lost Overshown. And the craziest thing out there, I did not realize this until I saw a tweet this morning. But let me show you something here. This is the Dallas Cowboys 2007 season, okay? That 2007 season is a season that I think that they should have gone all the way. Unfortunately, at 13-3, we were a disappointment in the playoffs. Pro Bowl players, okay, on our defense. I want you to think about this. We had DeMarcus Ware, who was young. We had Greg Ellis. These are just the Pro Bowl players. We had Terrence Newman. We had free safety Ken Hamlin. We had strong safety Roy Williams. All as Pro Bowl players. Excuse me. Okay. Clearly, this was not a defense full of scrubs. And when I look at this is the statistics from that season, okay? Their expected win-loss was 11 games, and, of course, they ended up doing 13. If we go to the team rankings, they were 13th in scoring defense. They were 9th in yardage. And, a decent defense that had Pro Bowl players. They didn't have the massive injuries like we had this year. Let's go down here to the defensive numbers. That's rushing, scoring, tackles, and sacks. Okay. Oh, we even had Chris Candy on the team. Wow. If we go down through here and look at all the sacks, Greg Ellis had 12 and a half sacks. DeMarcus Ware, did I pass D-Ware? D-Ware had 14 sacks. And then you had a lot of guys that had 3 or 4, 2 or 3. They ended up with 46 sacks. Okay? 46 sacks. Okay. Well, of course. You got a really good team. You got Jason Hatcher. You got Greg Ellis out there. You got D-Ware. Of course. You say, okay, that's a really good defense. Well, here's where it's crazy. Oops, wrong thing. Here's where it's crazy is the Cowboys, if we look at where they are right now in sacks, pull this up. The Dallas Cowboys, right now, as we sit here today, are 5th in the NFL in sacks. 5th in the NFL. Oh, I forgot D-Law was also lost. 5th in the NFL in sacks with 46. Oh, shit! Oh, shit! How the hell did that happen? How the hell are the Dallas Cowboys 5th in sacks where they literally have lost so many players? We've lost Marshawn Leland for most of the season. We've lost D-Law except for a couple of games. We lost Micah Parsons for 4 games. We lost Sam Williams. How the hell are the Cowboys literally 5th in sacks? And it gets even crazier because here's another one of these stats that are kind of a surprise too. This is where you really shake your head because Sack percentage. Sack percentage. The percentage of the time when the team, is passing, the Cowboys get a sack. They are numero uno, number one, at 9.06%. The best in the NFL. The best in the NFL. How the hell does that happen with the mass rash of injuries that we have? You got to look at Mike Zimmer. What's even crazier is the last 3 games, 9.45%. It gets even crazier because last year with Dan Quinn here, it was 7.99%. I am literally shocked. I am literally shocked. And that goes back to directly to Dan Quinn. It goes to Dan Quinn. You have to literally say he is doing a hell of a lot with smoke and mirrors. That the fact that they are literally one of the top 5 teams in sacks, having all of these injuries. Could you imagine if the team actually stayed healthy? Could you imagine if he had another lights out defensive end? So here's what you look at here. You look at this and say, well, okay. Maybe, we don't know when Diggs, if he's going to be ready to start the season or not. We don't know for sure. But we look at this and say, okay, if you get Diggs back, if you end up getting Sam Williams back and it's not really bad that, what we have with them, that you get a Marshawn Nealon who gets the second year bump up, right? And you get yourself another defensive tackle, a nice big fat guy, and you can hold on to Osa and Digazua, who, mind you, this is some of the stats that you look at and you say, wait a minute. Osa and Digazua, unfortunately, may have played himself out of the Dallas Cowboys because his numbers on pressures are through the roof. He's a top 4 in the NFL in pressures on interior defensive linemen. And even Mozzie Smith, people don't want to give him any credit, but this is like Mozzie Smith's rookie year. They literally stripped him down and started all over. And he is getting better as the season goes on. This was funny to me yesterday because I had somebody say, oh, he's ranking out at 199 on Pro Football Focus, man. He's a bum. Well, here's what you have to understand, though. From where he started, he was rated the worst. The worst. So to come down to 199, you've got to go, the second half, you've got to go even lower on that. So if you drop 20% in the season, then that means that second half you're playing better than that. So you're really saying about 170. I'm not saying that's great, but you're going in the right direction. And if he continues to go in the right direction, getting better and better each week, mind you, he's got more tackles this year than Hankins did last year, then you've got something to work with. And you could look at this and say, with a free agent here or a free agent there and a few draft picks and some luck with injuries, this could be a very, very scary defense. This is what Mike Zimmer likes. He likes to put pressure on the quarterback. He likes to have big guys in the middle that can help stop the run. And believe me, that's the Achilles heel for the Cowboys. And we will find out if the Cowboys have made anything up as far as stopping the run, because you got to look at this and say you got Kenny Pickett throwing, and you've got him with sore ribs, and you got Saquon, who is probably looking to get the NFL rushing record. So all of those things bode for the Eagles trying to keep Kenny Pickett healthy in case Jalen Hurts is not ready to start the playoffs. It also bodes well to say, let's go ahead and grind this clock out and try and get him the record so we don't have to play next week. If the Cowboys can find a way to slow down Saquon, and probably they'll put 8 men in the box and dare Kenny Pickett to beat them, that's what I would do. I think they got a good chance. I think the Cowboys actually have a chance. And if you are wanting to put money on this thing, I would say go to BetUS, because as we're rolling down here in the NFL season, BetUS is not just football. You can go on any sport that you can imagine. I'm wondering if they're going to start gambling like two cockroaches running up the wall. I'd bet on that. But if you do decide to bet responsibly, and go to BetUS and use the promo code YouTube150. With the promo code YouTube150, you will get 150% matching on your first 3 deposits of up to $2,000. That's you're playing with house money. So definitely check it out. I've got my dad's bets for the day I'm going to be doing in a little bit. Hopefully the Cowboys don't disappoint, and we'll see where we go with that. Okay, so let's finish this off this morning with a little bit of a Eagles run game versus the Cowboys.
Here on NFL Live, I'm Dan Graziano, pleased to be joined by Ryan Clark, Mina Kimes, and Marcus Spears on this huge Friday ahead of Week 7, but I feel like we're already halfway through Week 17. But I want to start in Philadelphia, where it was just announced that quarterback Jalen Hurts, will not play in this week's game against the Cowboys. Hurts left Sunday's game with a concussion, remains in concussion protocol, and that means it'll be Kenny Pickett at quarterback for the Eagles this week. So, Mina, let's get right to it. Without Hurts in this one, what are you expecting? What should the Eagles' game plan be on offense?
Well, you'd like to see them run the ball a lot more effectively than they did last week when Jalen Hurts went out. In the second half last week, 20 carries for just over 2 yards per carry. And what jumped out to me watching them against that Commanders defense, they were playing the run so aggressively without the fear of a quarterback keeper. The linebackers in particular were triggering downhill versus those shotgun runs. So I think this week, spinning forward against Dallas, the challenge for Kellen Moore is you can't lean on having that numbers advantage back there to give linebackers pause. So how else can you create some pause, some hesitation? I would put Saquon under center more for his runs, maybe work some under center play action off of that. Get that dominant offensive line working downhill against the Dallas Cowboys defensive line, where you have an advantage. The run game has to look different from how it looked last week, because Kenny Pickett is going to need that sort of support.
MK, I'm with you. I think, one, creating different, obviously, formations and motions and all of that. But Kenny Pickett has some athleticism, too. Just the threat of him potentially keeping. Now, I know that he hasn't worked operation with Saquon Barkley all season long on potential zone reads, but if you have it, use it. And I know he has the injury. I know he's a little bit banged up, but the threat of him potentially keeping and being able to get to the corner as well. We saw Jalen legs starting to take effect in that Washington Commanders game early in that game, and I don't think that's something that you need to lose. I think Kenny Pickett is obviously athletic enough to get you 7 or 8 yards on a zone read keeper and give the defense something else to think about. But I'm with you when it comes to that. And then, too, when you get these opportunities, the one-on-ones, make sure you tell Kenny Pickett, trust your guys to win, because he made some throws and should have made some plays in order to win that game. Obviously, the Devontae Smith drop. But I didn't think he was terrible outside of the interception to Louisville, where he got fooled and baited. But I would definitely lean into his athleticism on his own read a little bit as well.
The other thing is, I want to know how the Dallas Cowboys are going to play him from a depth perspective in the secondary. Is Deron Bland, is Jordan Lewis, and some of those guys, are they going to be pressing? Are they going to be or try to force Kenny Pickett to make the deep throw? Let's go back to his time in Pittsburgh and the difference between having Mason Rudolph, who would give George Pickens opportunities down the football field, than Kenny Pickett, which eventually made Mason the starting quarterback heading into the playoffs. And so it's going to be some of those plays and taking some of those shots, like the one you saw him take to A.J. Brown on Marshawn Lattimore, which was underthrown, but he was able to catch that 50-50 ball. To Marcus's point about trusting your guys on the outside. And I think this could be a game where we do see more 12 personnel, more 21 personnel, where you put Kenny Pickett under center and allow Saquon Barkley to run the football from a more traditional set in the backfield, especially playing against the Dallas Cowboys, who we watched struggle with that early on in the season.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And the Eagles are in an interesting spot. They lost to Washington last week, which means they still haven't wrapped up their division. Still a chance that Washington could catch them if they don't win one of their last couple of games. And they are 1-3 over the last 4 seasons in games that Jalen Hurts doesn't start. 45-17 when he does. So they got their work cut out for them.
We've played a lot of the top.
There you go. The Eagles have their work cut out for them. And today we got a little special treat because I kind of screwed the pooch yesterday. Or, you know what, you know what? Philly, he deserves it. He deserves to get called out. But Philly 500 took pretty much the week off for Christmas. And I misunderstood our conversation. I thought he was talking about us doing something together Thursday or Friday. He was thinking we were doing something together before the game. So today, 15 minutes before kickoff, we're going to do a dual stream together. Yeah, a dual stream together, bitch slapping each other before this game. And we'll see how it goes. All right, good people. We will see you all in a couple hours here. I'm going to go get some Jobu wings cooked for the day, and we're going to be here chilling as we roll down towards the end of the season. I can't believe that this season is over and no playoff disappointment this year. But hopefully, Agent Zero goes off.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat. The human drama of athletic competition. This is ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Brought to you by Lincoln Mercury. Nobody has more kinds of cars or more kinds of people. See them at the sign of the cat. By Goodyear, makers of the custom Steel Guard radial tire. And by State Farm Mutual. Almost anywhere you live, there's a State Farm agent nearby. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.